And I would say that Obama's jigsaw puzzle is that although he's a good guy, like Morgan Freeman, he has been surrounded by three types of people, very powerful people. Members of powerful think tanks like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Conference, and the more recently founded Center for American Progress. Clintonites, the very people who are responsible for the financial architecture, are now back in power. They are the same people who served with Bill Clinton in the 90s. And the third type are militant Zionists, both Jewish and Gentile, about which Harvard professor Stephen Walt and Chicago University professor John Mearsheimer wrote a splendid 500-page book called The Israeli Lobby and Its Influence on U.S. Foreign Policy, and shows how the powerful Israeli lobby, especially AIPAC, American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, has been able to turn American foreign policy so that it will give more priority to the Israeli national interest above U.S. national interest. Look at some of the Clintonites. Timothy Geithner, the President's Secretary of the Treasury. He was with the IMF, he was with the Clinton administration, he was the Federal Reserve Bank of New York president when all this crisis took place. He has been one of the architects of what is happening now. Another one, Lawrence Summers, chairman of the National Economic Council. Again, he was Bill Clinton's Secretary of the Treasury. He's been on the Bilderberg Committee. He's on the Trilateral Commission. He is CFR. He's part of the team led by Robert Rubin. Paul Volcker, he was chairman of the Federal Reserve Board for many years, and now he is back supposedly on the advisory board to the President on Economic Recovery. Robert Rubin of Citicorp fame. That's probably one of the best Ponzi schemes we have. He is also there advising the president. Eric Holder, he was with the Clinton administration under Janet Reno as Attorney General. Peter Orszag, director of the Office of Management and Budget. Leon Panetta, of all people, Leon Panetta to lead the CIA? Something's funny there. John Podesta, senior advisor to Obama, and he is also the founder of the American Center for American Progress. Hillary Clinton, your Secretary of State. All Clintonites. Second type of people, think tank members. Most of the ones I just mentioned are think tank members, but I would add Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates, who was a member of the CFR, former CIA director under Bush Sr., and he was baby Bush's Secretary of Defense. He just kept him on. George Mitchell, Special Envoy to the Middle East, CFR. Richard Holbrooke, Special Representative of the President to Afghanistan and Pakistan, who, by the way, you are bombing permanently. He stayed on, CFR. Dennis Ross, Special Advisor to the Gulf and in Southwest Asia, Trilateral Commission and CFR. Janet Napolitano, Secretary for Homeland Security, CFR and Trilateral Commission. Susan Rice, Permanent Representative, Ambassador to the United Nations. Ex-Clintonite, CFR, and a member of the Brookings Institution. Look at the Zionists, the ones that give more importance to the state of Israel than to your own state. David Axelrod, Senior Advisor to President Obama, political consultant. His office is right next to the President. Joe Biden, Vice President, former Chairman of the powerful Senate Foreign Affairs Committee. Joe Biden, in an interview with Shalom TV in Israel on the 7th of April of 2007, literally said, "I'm a Zionist. You don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist." And he's right. Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, CFR. Rahm Emanuel, the Chief of Staff of your President, has dual nationality, Israeli and United States citizenship. He is probably an intelligence agency of the Israeli armed forces, and his dad fought as a terrorist with the Irgun Tzvai Leumi, which was one of the terrorist organizations that helped impose the state of Israel upon the Palestinians. I could name many more. Something is definitely wrong somewhere. Your Vice President, Joe Biden, said in an ABC News report on the 28th of October of 2008 that President Obama is going to be tested to see what his mettle is and whether he will be able to manage an artificially created global crisis. So perhaps something worse than 9/11 is on the way. I don't know if it will be on American soil or where, but something very tough, a false flag type of event might be in the making. Conclusion. I would just say, let's concentrate on the big picture. Let's think with our own minds and not with the minds of this system that wants to always pull the wool over our eyes, always generate a new smoke screen and so forth. In a way, you in America, us in Argentina, we're all on the Titanic. And the Titanic, you would say, oh dear, it sank. Yes, it definitely did. But if we were all together on the Titanic, having dinner, And we all feel a slight shudder, which means, hey, something funny happened. But I don't know anything about boats, so I wouldn't know. But one of our friends does understand a lot about boats. And he steps outside and comes back pale. And he'll tell us, look, we just ran into an iceberg. This boat's going to sink in 120 minutes, in 2 hours. What would you think? Oh dear, he spoiled our night. Everybody else is having champagne and singing and dancing. And I will tell you, he's done us a hell of a favor. First, we know what's going to happen. Second, let's stick together. Otherwise, when the panic really strikes, we might not know where Jill or where John or where Nancy is. Let's stick together. Second, let's stick near the lifeboat. So once all the women and children are around, make sure that the gents who get on the lifeboats are ourselves. And third, don't drink. Tonight we're going to need our minds to be very, very, very sharp, ice cold, because we're in the middle of an emergency. Sure, perhaps if we're 100 friends, 10 might not make it. But the fact that we were given a head start means that at least 90 did make it. Otherwise, if we were just part of the panic, maybe only 50 would have made it, or 60, or maybe none. So let's start by spreading the word, sticking together, understanding what it's all about, and working together in an intelligent and calm fashion.